Hi, I'm Lauren Melber with the Unlimited team. I run a team at Chubb Aubrey Leonard Real Estate. And
I'm Emily Cornwell with Howard Hanna and Hanna Commercial Real Estate right here in Buffalo, New York.
we do this podcast purely for our own enjoyment. Em and I just like talking anyway, so figure we may as well share some of the funny real estate stories and things that happen in our day-to-day, and stay in front of our audience at the same time.
It's always a good time. Very entertaining.
It is. And if you want to support us, subscribe, like, follow, share our stuff. All of that would be incredible. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. So, do you think that AI is going to take the place of you and I in the work that we do?
I did hear about an agent in, I wish I could remember where it was, Sweden or Switzerland or Poland. Anyway,
Europe.
an AI agent that closed like 100 million in real estate or something. I'm like, what does that mean? I need to know what that means, right? And this is going to lead into my opinion on AI in real estate in general, but they basically, I don't know, do I call it a he, a she, a they? Like,
It's a they, though.
can I name it?
Obviously.
Can I name it?
The bot is what I refer to.
Okay, the bot.
AI as.
The bot is going to be capable of knowing every single listing that exists and every statistic on it, right?
It does.
Has that capability.
Currently.
We don't have that capability.
Okay.
As humans, we cannot retain everything. Of course, we're capable of error, and so are they. Fun fact, ChatGPT added some stuff wrong for me the other day, and I called it out, and it was kind of weird. It like beat around the bush, and when I called it out, and then I called it out again, I'm like, wait, were you wrong? I'm confused. And then it finally admitted it was wrong. And I'm
Wait,
like,
for what?
I just threw a bunch of numbers in there, and I kind of said, can you, I think I said, can you add this up and get the average? Like I needed a few, whatever it was. I don't even remember at the time. But it admitted it was wrong. And I was like, wait, I didn't know you could be wrong. This is changing everything for me. I'm like, I'm just going to go to a calculator next time. But it said like basically it manually adds, and then it has like a coding ability. So if it turns on this coding feature, it uses more energy. And he's like, but in the future, I called it a he that time. In the future, do you want me to just use the coding? I forget the name they have for the coding, alpha or whatever it is, right? Do you want me to use that feature in the future, like right off the bat, instead of trying to do manually? And I'm like, well, yeah, in the future, that'd be great. Like if it's going to guarantee you're not messing anything
Great
up.
conversation.
Yeah.
Some feedback.
I say please and thank you too.
I heard that using manners takes so much more energy. It's going to globally warm the rest of the earth so much faster.
Using manners?
Yeah. I stopped.
In AI?
Yeah. Saying, thank you so much. This is perfect. I'll do that.
So,
this is perfect.
So don't use that?
One of my friends told me that.
Oh. Okay. So in regards to the real estate thing, it can have all of this information, right? And it can process things at a pace and a speed that we're not capable of. I think there's definitely a use for it in real estate. Do I think it can take over completely? No, because I think to a degree we can't fully trust it. But I do think there's a lot of people out there who are going to overuse it, and it's going to create issues as we go on. But at the end of the day, there's emotion that goes into real estate that can't be replicated through a bot. So there's a use for it, and there's not a use for it. Tyler was saying, as we were talking about some of the topics we wanted to bring up, that it's dumbifying some people, which it really is. Like I try not to go on and write my descriptions with it. Do you? Do you write your descriptions with like?
I have one time, but what I actually do, I mean, my use for it in terms of descriptions is mostly like refining, clarifying, making language more copacetic or clearer. And so like this email I was sending last night, 1 a.m., I might ask whatever. That's when I'm writing emails sometimes. And also at that time, I'm not as eloquent sometimes. Sometimes I'm more eloquent at that time. But I'll like write out whatever it is. It's short, trying to get to the point. But I still want it to be like professional and friendly. So I will ask my bot to make the language reflect that, essentially.
Which is fair.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't even want to really admit, like, on camera, this how much it really has benefited to when there's like a lot of data you want to collect, and not necessarily with, I'm manually running like my comps a lot of the time, unless you're using CoStar or something. There is just so much capacity for just so much data that you can pull, that it will do it for you in 2 seconds, which is, I mean, that's essentially the same thing, right? I mean, utilizing technology to benefit us and also effectively getting our clients what they need and all of the rest of it. Um, but in terms of other like articles, research, stuff like that, other parts of my life that are not real estate right now, and in terms of the dumbification, it's like, well, I don't know. It's like a catch-22 because, yeah, I don't have time to read through, period, read that much. And yet I still want to make sure like I'm doing good work in other parts of my life too. So, but I totally agree with you in terms of, I mean, there's a human aspect to all work, to the human experience, and the collaboration, like we've talked about plenty of times, where you can't, I mean, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine really having any sort of experience where I'm like effectively getting my clients to the place where they want to be. And maybe it depends on the type of client too. We're just talking about different types of people and what they appreciate and value the most. But where you can really like share that and get them to where they want to be, taking all things into consideration, which is not just hard data, of course.
Right. I think as time goes on and the younger generations move up and they're getting used to using all of this,
Mm-hmm.
and they are
It's like
probably,
cursive.
yeah, probably inevitably going to be dumbified by the fact that they've had AI around to use, right? Like that's gonna, I think that in the future it probably could take over a lot more
But do
because
you
of
think
that.
it's dumbification, or
Yes.
but I don't think I'm getting dumber by being able to pull this much more data and compare it and learn this much more about whatever topic matter it is. Like we're talking about this breath awareness meditation research that I'm trying to do, and the abundance of research that I need to pull to build my own, and just like being able to do that in a timely manner while I have a career, a personal life, all these other things
You're
going on.
using it to leverage time, but the things that are on repeat that I think people are doing is they're using it to, instead of using their brain to write something, they're saying, "Write me something about this." And over time, as you keep doing that on repeat, that part of your brain is gonna just not is not gonna work to the same capacity. And then for the younger generation, I don't know if we've talked about this before, and I think I actually got this from Neil Tyson Degrassi Tyson, whatever it is, right? He talked about at one point, kids when they're younger, it's not that, you always talk about, am I ever going to need to do this math equation as an adult? Why do I need to learn this
Yeah.
math stuff? It's not, they don't expect you to memorize these equations and use them as an adult when you go to the grocery store and you're multiplying all your things, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like calculators are out there and that's everybody's aware of that. But when you're learning these new things, you're creating these connections in your brain. You're basically growing your brain. You're
Mm-hmm.
using that muscle and you are growing your brain. If you are using AI and you are not creating those connections, we will have a dumbified future generation.
Well, I feel like it's really going to depend on a lot of different aspects. What motivates a particular person, the parenting style, like what they're being, I guess, pushed to pursue or
Exposed to,
exposed to, and how that looks. Because,
I think it's just inevitable.
I,
Think about all the kids that are sitting on electronics these days. Like I fight tooth and nail to keep my kids busy, but I have to keep them busy. It's so easy to just hand them an electronic and be like, go occupy yourself. But that is not going to make them a successful adult. But a lot of parents like don't have a choice.
but at the same time, I mean, they're in school, right? They have each other. They have a family unit. They have a social life to whatever extent. I mean, I can understand that conflict definitely. And even looking at my own life, looking at my own screen time, like considering like how much time I'm spending looking at my phone. And like another thing that we're going to talk about with the social media pauses and just like taking some time, like walking outside. I've been doing that lately. That's like a really big deal for me. But like just
when it's sunny, warm enough to walk outside.
1 o'clock in the morning, honestly.
Oh,
My
wow.
mom yelled at me. So
I would be
it was
too.
earlier last night. But being not here,
Yeah.
looking at a screen and being engaged in something else or being engaged in nothing, which is really what I would love to get closer to. Like, okay, I'm not producing, I'm not performing, I'm not doing, I'm being. And that's like, I mean, in
That's
terms of,
okay.
there's a whole, yeah, but there's like two, because there's a contrast. And I know I'm like very devil's advocate with all this stuff, because of course there's all this fear of like, oh my God, like just so much information could be so overwhelming. But you spoke to this, like you were off social media for a couple weeks.
I'm
And
still
it's like,
off.
okay, good for you.
I'm sorry if I've ignored you. I'm not
Didn't get
actually
back to the
ignoring you.
DMs yet.
I am taking a mental health break.
So there you go. I mean, like if people, and if there continues to be the growth in the direction that I witness, which is like being a little bit more self-aware. Of course, not everybody's going to be there. Some people like to lock themselves in their basement and play video games and drink at their mini bar for however many
And those are the
decades.
Are those the people that you consider generally successful?
No, but I don't know if we're talking about success or like fear with how it's going to look for
like overall achievement in society.
But there's always going to be that. I don't think that AI is going to significantly affect, but there's been TV for a really long time. There's been video games for a really long time. There's been technology that can suck you in and keep you from.
Maybe I'm comparing to the hunter-gatherer, or the people who had to literally have adrenaline rushes every day to survive, and we're over here.
Well, that's still in us. That's still ingrained. Fight or flight. It's there.
Fading quickly.
But I mean, there's a lot, and we could go on about this forever, but just in terms of like subconsciously and how we're built and all these things, I just really do feel like
comfort.
It's all going to be, and disassociation.
Yes.
People, human beings, that is our whole culture, if you ask me. Just, okay, look at your phone, go to the bar, go on a trip, blah, 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 which, I mean, there's a fine line, I think, for all things. And so with AI, like, you promote your kids going outside and talk to them about having a friend. And I don't know. I think overall, I try to just be like overall optimistic about it and utilize it to our benefit, to benefit our clients.
Yes, I 100% think there's a use for it. But I also think that if you're not using it the right way, you will just slow your own brain down.
That I am afraid of that with some of the stuff. But it's like, at the same time, does it not benefit you getting, okay, 10x more done? You are that queen. Like, you have all of these other people that have your back or that you've hired to help you to produce and get things done more than most other human beings can get done because you utilize the resources that you have.
I just took, I had a client that bought a house, and I wasn't sure, like, how long do you have to buy a home warranty after you close? I'm like, I have no idea. And also, like, how do you have a grace period before you can file a claim? All these questions. I was able to go on their website, take a sample contract, download, or I think I took the PDF, or I took the link and I posted it or pasted it in ChatGPT and said, can you read through this and let me know about, is there a grace period? Is there this? Is there that? And it was able to lay it out for me, or say, I don't see any specific language about this. You might want to look somewhere else.
Sweet.
And that saves you time.
Smart.
For sure.
Absolutely. And then you're effectively getting your client what they need, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's using it smart.
Yeah.
That's the way that you're built,
Prompts are everything, though. Yeah.
True. What about manners and deals?
Okay. I think it's rude when a buyer's agent spends a lot of time showing a property, maybe showing it more than once, submits an offer after doing research on price, checking in with the agent about all these details, doing due diligence on Lord knows what, preparing the offer, sending the offer exactly how the listing agent dictates, because, usually somebody's got a whole list of how they want things done. And then the listing agent just shoots a lazy 10-second text message. We didn't take your offer. Good luck. That's rude.
Okay.
What's rude to you?
Fair enough. No, I think that is, I understand that. So when, you're on the other side of that, How do you handle that?
I call every single agent back and I say,
do.
thank you for taking the time to prepare this.
Yeah.
We are really grateful for your offer. Because how do I know one of the other deals isn't going to fall through? I'm going to be calling them back. Not to mention, relationships are everything in this industry. But yeah. And I mean, in like 2018, I used to get people upset about a multiple offer. You didn't take our offer. Why didn't you take our offer? I don't get that kind of conversation anymore. It's like, thank you so much for calling me. I appreciate you taking the time to call me. And then I'll tell them like, here's where you ranked roughly. And here's why we took the top offer.
Okay.
Maybe had a higher price, maybe had better terms depending on the house, the situation. I'm going to reveal only so much about it, but I'll reveal as much as I can because it's going to be helpful in the marketplace. And at the end of the day, if that deal falls through, it's really not going to matter what those terms are. If I'm calling somebody back, it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, a couple things. I mean, I've really taken the stance of being more revealing lately, just in terms of when any agent calls me for what did you sell for, how many offers. I'm not like beating around the bush. I'm happy to tell you exactly the number. I'm happy to tell you exactly how many offers that we got. I'm happy to tell you exactly what it appraised for. And
if you're past appraisal, I usually try to wait.
I don't. I'm like, who cares? Because what am I going to jinx it? Am I the conductor of the friggin' universe where I'm going to screw my house?
I actually have a little superstition. I'm like, we
I
need like a week after contract before I'm telling anybody.
I try not to be superstitious. But two, like we were kind of talking about last time, like revealing, hey, when I'm asking an agent on the other side, I did this the other day, what is the number that we need to come in at? Like, what do you need from us? And just asking point blank. Because if you don't ask, you can't find out. And I don't think it's wrong to be like extremely transparent if it's going to benefit your seller who wants the highest number or your buyer who wants the house. You know, who are you hurting? So I guess that's something that just like more recently I've realized, like, why would you not do that? And then when it comes to following up with other agents, the other day, we got 12 or 13 offers on a house, which is amazing because the sellers did such a great job preparing it and we priced it right. But I really couldn't after all was said and done and waiting, and it's the evening and I am not able to call 12 people back at that moment. So I sent a very informative text message with, the clearest breakdown I could possibly do for everybody. So they were aware of what the competition really looked like, and then they could guide their clients from there.
The ones that are like broken down, very detailed, like super detailed. And maybe this is what you're saying, maybe you're not, but I've had ones where it's like, you have like 20 offers and it's like 6 were conventional.
Yeah,
we were FHA. We had 2 cash. None were contingent. This many had inspections. Like that's a good replacement if you're going to provide all that information. I'm talking about the people that are like, hey, we didn't take your offer. We took a higher one. Thanks and good luck. Like, it's just like, if you're going to do that, make it a phone call so at least you can act like grateful for the effort that was put in, because it is so much effort.
But not everybody is so grateful. Not everybody cares, so that's what sets you apart when there's all this other stuff that goes on. Okay, well, I learned through the examples that you're provided with. Can I tell my story about manners?
I thought that
it also includes AI. It's all encompassing.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
All right.
It was around Easter.
Okay.
This year. And I had a client, and this is relevant. He was from India, and the seller's agent, he was from Lebanon. Yes, I believe.
Your client was from India?
My client was from India. Wait, that was Lebanese. So my client was one who went to the house, the open house with his entire family.
Sorry, that was probably so loud.
All of his friends, children. Then he went back for 2 more showings. He submitted an offer. After a week and a half of back and forth, it was finally accepted. And I guess like really what I'm getting to is I guess it was kind of my own, and it might not even be manners. It's more like communication style, communication style of people that are from different backgrounds and cultures. So like culture. It was definitely cultural, being a female, working with males from, again, different parts of the world. And I did need to go to ChatGPT. I straight up did it. And I'm like, what is the most effective way to communicate with the people that I am trying to work with to move towards, the goal, the common goal?
Something you're missing, yeah.
And it was really, honestly, it was a big learning experience because I did find myself frustrated more than once when I'm trying to let my client feel comfortable, which it was just a lot of communicating, a lot of like hand holding and just like reiterating things and reassuring him.
Is there language barrier?
There was definitely a language barrier, and I think there was just like mistrust overall, like certain things that happened with the seller's agent, the way that it all transpired, the back and forth. When you're in like kind of tight negotiations for an extended period of time, and I feel like sometimes you just don't know what to believe, and people are just like not completely trusting all the time of real estate agents and the way that these things kind of transpire. So trying to be patient and trying to be reassuring while having the same conversation multiple times for long durations of time, I just wanted to. An American woman, like I'm just expressive, and I don't know, East Coast. All these things are like me that make me like, okay, let's do it. Understand? Okay, cool. Sign. Let's go. And that is not the way that was effectively helping this gentleman. And the agent on the other side, he wasn't helpful either. But we closed, so whatever. So anyway,
where does manners come into that? That was
the
communication
guy was
style.
He was a big jerk, but I can't even think about the specific instance where I felt like
the listing agent.
Yeah.
Oh, better than your client, right?
He was just a lot of I don't know.
You could do all this continuing ed on cultural bias or what it's implicit bias, cultural competency, and all that, but it doesn't teach you real life stuff. And does GPT have stereotypes? Because that's what it
wasn't really stereotypes. It was just like
not negative stereotypes, but stereotypes are a thing. It's just
I guess is everything a stereotype if it is a generalized idea about a culture? Then I suppose so.
It doesn't need to be associated with something negative.
Well, I mean, it was data, so you could call it that.
Yeah.
So basically, just the communication style and it being an obstacle and being in Broadway Market, like yelling on the phone.
I remember this.
Funny aisle. I told you that.
I remember multiple parts of the story we've talked about over time, different times.
I remember I was on a walk that day and I was telling you all about it.
All these walks. Also,
thank God, get my steps in. 17,000 steps yesterday. 18.
Wow, proud of you.
That was a wild day.
You use AI sometimes, like I use AI, which is like
what?
Like my mom. Like, so instead of texting my mom like a generic or Google a generic question, I'm just logging right on and saying, how do I like my therapist, right? Using it like a therapist.
You do?
You just gave an example of that also. How do I communicate with these people? Like, yeah, not that my mom would have known the answer for that.
What is the wildest prompt?
Oh, I went on one time and I said, I backed up a story. So this is like a time that I made it like my therapist. I backed up a story where I offended someone that I thought made zero sense and was so them being oversensitive. And I said, is this, I explained the whole story and I didn't soften up any part of the story to like make it in my favor. But I said, is that offensive? Would that be offensive? And I also said, I'm about to be having a conversation with this person. What's the best way to approach this so that I'm not doing it again? Because it was unintentional the first time. How do I make sure I don't unintentionally do it again? And they were spot on with some examples.
Damn.
I was like, all right, I guess I didn't see it from that angle, right? I was like, but I won't say please and thank you next time because I don't want to affect global warming. Or whatever.
Well, that's interesting. So utilizing everything possible to make sure that you continue to be an effective communicator, active listener, and like greatest benefit to the people in your life. Trying to work with them forward. That is badass.
I've taken the road of not trying to make my communication style fit a lot of people's. I've tried doing that over time, and I've just realized like I am who I am, and if we're not a good, like if we're consistently bumping heads over perception.
Okay.
Intention can be good, but it doesn't matter. Perception is what matters, right? But if we're continuously bumping heads over purely perception, it's just like too much for me. I'm just like, I love you, but
Well, in personal relationships.
Yeah.
Sure. Bye. Big fan of that.
I want to hit on one thing too that's completely unrelated to this.
Okay.
And I know you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it. Well, I think it's really important because I get asked it all the time.
Okay. Please, because I was thinking about this. So I'd like to hear your input because I feel like it's just I can't explain things as well as you can in some instances. So please do the honor.
Oh, I'm really just going to talk about appraisals versus assessments because people do they not interchange those words for you a lot?
Oh, yeah. And sometimes I even accidentally say one or the other and I'm like, wait.
So an assessment
is
associated with the town's perceived value, their perceived market value of property.
And then the appraisal.
Appraisal is a third party, whether it be an actual appraiser, us.
Well, we're not appraisers.
We're not appraisers, but we can appraise a property. In terms of like the general term means come up with the value.
Market value. I wouldn't say appraisal.
Okay. Well, right. Yeah. I don't ever say I'll come. Well, I do sometimes say like I can come up and appraise your property, but it wouldn't be a formal appraisal.
Right.
Like a bank. Like we're not licensed appraisers.
Right.
But we look at the exact same data that they look at. We don't have to follow the same regulations they have to follow for specific securities and loan types. But appraisers and appraisals are associated with coming up with a value to when securing a loan or note.
Yes.
Right. So
the other part,
which nobody understands, because really the town wants your house to be worth a lot, so they can tax you a lot. The appraisers want your house to be conservative because they don't want to overlend. The banks don't want to overlend money.
Right.
Market value is really neither of those things because us as agents, we're looking for things in a house that really don't get taken into. A lot of the things are crossover taken into consideration. Yeah. Does it have a finished basement? Here's hard facts. Does it have a pool? Is it on a busy road?
Right.
Actually, really, that doesn't play as much into the two, appraisal and assessment, as much as maybe a little bit, right? But like we know, is there a garbage neighbor that's going to affect us selling this? Does the inside have a particular smell? Shout out to Dora.
These are good examples.
Other factors, maybe it might have 3 bedrooms. What are the bedroom sizes? Does it have a sliding glass door to the yard in one of the bedrooms? Those are all marketability examples that wouldn't necessarily change the appraisal or the assessment amounts.
Or the equalization rate.
Okay, yeah. And so equalization rate, whole nother layer. Ooh. In New York State, that's determining each town's level of assessment. So when a town doesn't reassess their properties every year, their level of assessment is going to change. And they're going to, so somebody looking at a house in Tonawanda is going to see that a house's assessed value is only like
$45,000. And they're like, why would I pay
$300,000, whatever,
for this thing?
Yeah, it's only assessed at 45. My taxes are going to go way up, but they don't know. Right. Tonawanda's equalization rate is like somewhere around like 28% right now or something like that. Yeah. So 45,000 is 28% of what the market value is.
Right.
But they're, they have their tax rate, and their tax rate is based on the 45.
And I do think, do you mind if I interject?
I'm done.
It's important to know that what you had just touched on, when you close on your home and you pay over asking price, or obviously it's more than likely going to be over what the property sold for 10, 15 years prior, even a couple, that does not mean that you're immediately going to be taxed on that amount that year. Sometimes that does happen. Since I've lived in the city of Buffalo, I think that they've reassessed us 2 times in the last few years. So, but that's pretty uncommon.
Cheektowaga tends to reassess every year, but everybody knows their taxes are insane. Alma, I feel like it hasn't.
But it doesn't mean that, like, when you close, then your assessment is going to change to match the value of the
Correct.
property that you just bought.
That is spot assessing, and spot assessing is illegal. They have to do either an entire neighborhood, you have to open a permit and do a substantial improvement to your house. At that point, they could reassess, or they're doing an entire town, but they cannot just do your house. I actually had a client who was spot assessed,
Really?
and they tried to sue them.
Mm-hmm.
This was the town of Alden, and they didn't win the first court date, and they did not. And the attorney said, "You are still, like, they are still doing something like wrong. You can still continue to go after them, but it's going to cost you money. Like,
Okay.
you have to pay me to go after them. Like, how far do you want to take this? Because really, it would win if you took it to the end here, but it's going to cost you money in the meantime." And they gave up. But they were literally in the middle of a sale process. This is one of my horror stories too.
Oh, wow.
And this was so hard. This was such a hard one. I listed a house at kind of an aggressively high price.
Mm-hmm.
And and they needed to find something, so we needed a reverse contingency. Well, we had a buyer come in who had a sale contingency. And I go, okay, they're willing to give the price. I'm like, should we get crazy and do this? So now I have a sale contingency and a reverse contingency. If we sell our condo and you guys find a house, we'll buy your house.
Right.
We found a house, they sold the condo. We're halfway through the closing process, and the town comes in and reassesses them. Their taxes go up over $2,000
Oh, wow.
a year.
Okay. Okay.
That disqualified the buyers from being able to purchase.
Oh, my God, it did? Okay, I was going to say.
Nightmare.
Another crazy. Wow.
Nightmare. And so then we had to bail on our purchase because it was contingent on selling the house that the buyer could no longer buy.
Over $2,000 in these dumb spot reassessors? That's very frustrating. What ended up happening?
A lot of things
Yeah,
happened.
okay.
A lot of things happened, and it didn't end up reselling. And I think they listed with somebody else, which is frustrating because, like, you do everything you possibly can. It's like these things weren't outside of my
Well, oh boy.
the county failed their septic tank
What are you talking-
also, so they had to replace that. So all these things were happening to them, and we get blamed for everything. It's like I'm not the one who failed your system. I'm not the one who reassessed your
Well,
house.
it's easy finger to point, but I was just having this conversation too to kind of go on my own tangent regarding what you're talking about for doing the work in the way, in the fashion that I will say definitely you. I try to lead in the same way where, again, whatever I can do to get my client what they want, whatever I can do to get them the number that they're looking for, these really intricate and complicated situations that, like, you need a hands-on human agent to, like, get these things executed for you. But when things like this come about where it's like you put in your best efforts, it fell apart, and then they go to somebody else.
They went to somebody else because I remember now is because I told you we had it listed for way higher than I recommended. So the fact that that buyer even came in off the bat and wanted to pay that was incredible.
Yeah.
But then they realized, like, we have to put this money into a septic tank. Our taxes just went up, and basically we don't want to pay. They wanted to negotiate my compensation way down. And I go, I have so much time in this. Like, I can't just cut my paycheck in addition to continue. So for me, I forgot about this. I actually said I would rather take nothing than my pride got in the way. But I'm like, I'd rather you honestly say you're going to go somewhere else than have to drop my compensation, like drop my pants to make, like, I'm all for, like, let's get to the finish line, but that was just, I don't know, that felt rude to me. So
Oh, yeah, you want to know, last night or 2 days ago, I was thinking about this because I had just been able to put an investment property under contract where the seller is offering 1% compensation to a buyer's agent. So the agent on the other side asked me if I was willing to take 1%, and I was like, no, but I'll talk to my buyer. So I did. I went to him. We ended up working it out. I asked him, hey, this is the deal. Are you willing to cover 0.5% for the work that I'm putting into this? And his immediate response was, I'll buy you a cheeseburger at Burger King.
I would have died. I would have died. Emily, I would have.
But what would you have done there?
I would have said every day for the next 10 years.
I did this. And I was laying in the grass at my grandma's actually, and I just was like, and that was it. But I'm getting my 0.5%. I was just quiet. I had to learn how to do that in my career.
Who paid it? He agreed to pay it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just didn't say anything.
So he was just making a joke?
I don't know what he's doing.
A tacky joke or?
He didn't. I needed to like really clarify the particulars and like still kind of navigating that too.
I would have definitely been quiet until I saw like a follow-up probably.
This is as of August 17th, 2024. You know, I always refer to that date. I think that's the right date. And what has changed and why this is even a conversation.
I thought you said
since all the buyer's comp stuff, but we're under contract on something else too, and that did not come up because of the compensation that was offered on the other one. So it was just different. So it was a new conversation. I should have probably had it from the jump, but it was just sometimes you're just kind of like,
I know. I
gonna run around and
really
just
make sure everybody knows from the jump, and I probably lose a lot of people. Not a lot of people. I do have buyers that are spooked by it right off the bat, and I'm just
But
like,
you told me the way that you go about it, and I was really impressed because it's extremely clearly defined. This is a deal. This is what I work for and at this rate, and generally it's covered by the sellers. It is not 100% of the time. So if it's not, then we'll talk. But it very likely.
and if you're gonna walk after that conversation, then we're probably not gonna be a good fit anyway.
But honestly, that is what I was trying to get to before too. Like busting your ass essentially, like for your clients, for buyers, sellers, whomever it is, and then just recognizing like the efforts they're essentially overlooked, and like opening up your time and your space and your heart to like other stuff that will be better worth your time, and people that will be more than likely, I think, more likely to really close too than the run around type stuff and the pie in the sky ideas on numbers, because that's happened. And I'm like, and it continues to happen.
That's gonna give me
But that's okay.
That burger story. I didn't like it.
Oh my God. Whatever.
I'll
I
buy
feel like I
you
handled
a
that like a champ. But like again, when you're talking to
Like he should
different
have been grateful that you were coming down to 1.5.
No, I asked him for half of 8%.
You asked him for half. But you were willing
Well,
to
I
take
worked it out with
1.5
the other
total.
agent too. So it is all good.
Okay.
But it depends on who you're talking to, because I didn't take it like I get red or anything. I think it's just the communication style. Whether you're from wherever in the world or whatever part of town, or, being able to talk to people.
And we have to navigate every single personality type that exists.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like being quiet, letting them talk too.
75%. 75.
Is listening?
That's what's supposed to be.
Okay.
We do 50-50, me and you, thankfully.
I think we do agree. I think that we do a great job overall. Well, I love being able to sit down with you in the middle of the week and just go through
Me
it
too.
and learn. Honestly, I learned so much
Samesies.
from you.
I go home and I psychologically have to bank and
Go to AI.
stifle my mental note cards.
Please analyze this for me.
I'll come back to social soon. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for sitting and listening to us talk. And hopefully if you have any questions, you are willing to reach out, and we're happy to help.